making a play. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
And welcome everybody to the latest edition of Real Talk. I got my man Kenny, got Chris with us. Got some stuff to get into tonight. How y'all feeling?
Good, man. Just
feeling good. I can't complain.
Cool. I know Kenny. I know you watched it. Chris, did you watch that NYC point guard doc yet?
I didn't get a chance to watch it. I'm pretty sure it's amazing. I'm probably going to watch it sometime this week, but, seeing the preview, seeing everything that I saw leading up to it, I know it's probably one of the best basketball contents we've seen in a while.
No, I started it. That's what I was doing actually before I started this. But no, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I didn't realize it was going to have – one, I forgot that Kevin Durant, his company did it. So shout out to him. But also, they've added in, the interview Cameron and some other people. So it's not just basketball. It's more overall impact of the times and different people that came through.
Yeah.
So now it's really well done. I'm like I said, I'm about halfway through, but really well done so far.
Nah, you guys will both love it. And then not only do they talk about the guys that made the league, they also talk about guys that they touch on the street ball element too. Mm-hmm. So, they talk about that. They talk about how, all the rappers into the Rucker started putting teams in the Rucker and stuff like that. So it tells some stories about how, guys were trying to get plays. I'm not going to give it away, but just give you, it's really good. You guys will really enjoy it.
Okay, cool. Well, no, you definitely mentioned it before, so I'm glad I started it, and I will continue to finish it up maybe after this, if not tomorrow, because it's that good. But we have some huge news today coming out of we'll start with this one. Coming out of the talk with Durant and Brooklyn Nets front office, or actually owner, I'm sorry. And basically he said, get rid of your front office or get rid of me. So obviously not a great sign if you're the owner of a team and your best player by far has said basically you fired the GM and head coach or trade me. I got a lot to say, so I'll let y'all kind of go and get in, but this is nuts. Kenny, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I just think that this is KD basically, trying to pull power play. I just think that this is his way. This is his way of letting them know, I want to be here, but the way things are, if it's going to still be the way things are, then I want out. And so I think this also, and this is the other biggest point to me, is that this kills the whole narrative that people have been putting out there that he was tired of Kyrie, or that he wanted to be away from when he was done with Kyrie. So it just kills that whole narrative. So those are the two biggest takeaways for me, and I'll let you guys have the rest.
Real quick on that, because I'm glad you got that, because that's where I was gonna go. But I guess in that, what do you do as the owner? Because by all accounts, he picked the coach. So a year later to be like, nah, get rid of him and his boss and go get who at this point? What is kind of timing wise and everything? Why do you think he used now, and why is he going after the coach that he picked?
I think one is admitting that they made a mistake in doing that is number one. And then number two, I think is that, he felt like this was his last alternative in terms of getting them to make a move. And the last thing I'll say also is that I think this is going to end bad either way, because there's going to be one or two things that's going to be said that if they side with KD, then KD's a coach and a GM killer. And then if they side with trading KD, then it means that coaches and GMs or the owners can't let the players run the asylum. So I just think it ends bad either way, and it's just going to be a bad look all around. So this is really this is really making the Nets look really bad.
Definitely agree on that. Chris, your thoughts?
It definitely makes the Nets look bad. I mean, I don't understand, me personally, why they even hired Steve Nash. I look at what Steve Nash has done as a head coach since he started coaching his Brooklyn Nets team, and I look at their playoff, lack of success. And a lot of people want to blame the injuries or say a player did this or a player did that. But at the end of the day, when our head coach is going to get held accountable, not to piggyback and not talk about my Sixers, but we lost series because of Doc Rivers. Bad coaching will trump talent. So I'm looking at what's going on right now in Brooklyn and Steve Nash. And for some reason, you have Kevin Durant, who's been hurt every single year since coming back with Brooklyn, bringing up the ball. You make him work extra hard. You're supposed to be this good player. You've been under this good coaching tree. You will understand how to put your players in the best position for them to succeed. So I personally never liked Steve Nash as the head coach for this team. I thought they needed a guy that is experienced, that knows how to manage, different personalities and manage different talents. So I thought that was mistake number one. And, at the end of the day, I like Sean Marks, but I don't know what the Brooklyn Nets are going to do. Are they going to trade Kevin Durant, or are they going to try to stay with this regime and say, listen, we make the choices? The Brooklyn Nets, they're in a hard spot right now, and I'm curious to see what they do. Me personally, if it's somehow I keep Kevin Durant and try to get rid of Steve Nash, there's not a lot of guys out there, but I think some people, like a Sam Cassell, sadly, he's my guy. I want him to coach my Sixers. When I look at coaches that deserve a head coaching job, I think if that Brooklyn Nets job was open, Sam Cassell could do amazing things over there. I don't know how the relationship will be with him and Ben Simmons, because he coached them, so I don't know how that is. But if you can get an experienced assistant coach over there that's been in the league for a number of years, I think that changes everything. But right now, Brooklyn's in trouble. You don't know how to grade them. You don't know how to grade their offseason. We don't know if they're championship contenders, favorites, or their team going to be fighting for the lottery. Right now, this team is a huge question mark, and I know a lot of people want to blame Kevin Durant, but it's not, and Kyrie Irving, but it's not their fault this time. It's the ownership, it's management. They've done a lackluster job in making this team successful. They've done a lackluster job of keeping this team together. And when everything's blowing apart, I know the players, the narrative is blaming the players. Blaming Kevin Durant. Say he didn't want to play with James Harden, but he's hanging out with James Harden in the offseason. Kyrie Irving, all hanging out in the offseason. Everybody wants to blame the players, but to me, it's just becoming more eye-opening that it was management fault and ownership fault. So they need to get it together if they want their team to be successful. But right now, they're looking like the bottom of the East team.
Wow. I didn't know you was gonna finish with that. I don't know if I'll go to their bottom of the East team, but they are a troubled team, to say the least. I don't know.
Well, let me rephrase that. They're acting like a bottom of the East team. They're acting like they don't know what, they don't know how to, be a winning franchise. They're on talent, paper-wise, they're one of the best teams. But how everything is ran from top to bottom, they're looking like a very dysfunctional organization. So let me clarify on that. Because I do think roster-wise, they're one of the best rosters, but they're acting real dysfunctional. And who acts dysfunctional? Bottom of the, conference teams.
Absolutely. So that actually, I got a couple questions I want to throw at y'all and get y'all take. So my first question is, the meeting happened today.
Mm-hmm.
Within hours, this story comes out. Whose side do y'all think put this story out, and why would they put it out?
It's the Nets side.
I'm gonna go with
that. We haven't heard anything from KD since. We haven't heard any statements from KD. Only thing that you've heard is his representation saying that they demanded a trade. You haven't heard KD make any statements. You haven't heard KD do anything via social media. And we know how active he is on social media because he smacked somebody in the head today that says something slick. So yeah, this is what I call the race to control the narrative. So I think, go ahead.
First, I'm not usually a fan of KD's clapbacks. I think a lot of them missed the mark. That one was good. Like he wore him out. You talking about the dude with the car?
Yeah.
He killed that. But so my follow-up to that is, so then what is Brooklyn doing? Brooklyn has said our asking price is astronomical for Kevin Durant. That's what it's going to take to get him. But now, it sounds like we all agree they leaked this information. You are further alienating your star player because now he looks away. So if you're doing things to alienate him, but making it super hard for anyone to acquire him, and the season's coming up, like, what are they doing?
Dysfunctional. That's what I'm sticking to. And I hate to say it because that all this talent that's been through this team in the past decade, but they're just looking like a dysfunctional franchise from top to bottom. When we have this many questions about a franchise, we got to start looking at ownership and management. There shouldn't be in the situation right now. Their offseason should have been real simple. Take care of the guys that got you to this winning status. It was that simple and build around that. But they wanted to make things difficult. Now they're backed into a corner where you got to leak this information, try to make your players look like the bad guys, try to blame KD, Kyrie. I don't know what's going on with Brooklyn right now. I don't know how they fix this, but it needs to be fixed because there's too much talent on that team right now in order for them not to get it together and go compete for a championship.
Yeah, it's just like it just seems like they don't have a plan. Like they don't have a concrete plan in place as to how they're going to build their team. Like originally you started with KD and Kyrie, making them a package deal. Then you bring in James Harden. And then after 1 year, after 1 year of basically coming like within a hair of going to the Eastern Conference Finals, then the next year you trade James Harden. Like it just, to me, like they're working like they're from the seat of their pants. Like they any type of reaction or anything that any type of and this is the funny part that they talk about KD, like anytime that there's a challenge or whatever the case it may be, he tries to get out. But the Nets, whenever there's any type of disruption or anything like that nature, then they just make a shotgun move. Like they trade for Ben Simmons, then the situation happens with Kyrie, and then you want to say you don't extend him. So like you knew that Kyrie and KD was a package deal. So you knew doing that was going to alienate KD. So you clearly alienated Harden, or something happened within the organization that alienated Harden to the point where he was like, yo, get me out of here. So to Chris's point, it's just like a whole bunch of dysfunction. And it's just, there's no plan. There's no solid plan that it seems like it's in place. It's just whatever the latest thing is, then we just react to it. And it's just a bunch of pivot.
Yeah, I completely agree. I want to ask a different question.
Okay.
In relation to the same thing, we here at ASAP, like we're a network. We talk sports. We have a responsibility in our reporting. I'm going to focus on two groups specifically because they get the most airtime. I look at Undisputed and I look at First Take. I believe Stephen A., Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless, and the rest, they have enough connections, Chris Broussard, to know what is going on. Why would they begin reporting that they believe KD and Kyrie were beefing? Like, how does that suit them to drive that narrative? Because I did hear it, and I thought it was a little unlikely given what I had seen and the reason why they made decisions. But do you think that's like a network thing? Like, why do you think that role is played when people are connected enough? If you can get reports out of Kyrie's camp and KD's camp because you're close enough to them to get these reports, then were you not close enough to realize they never was not cool?
I mean, you kind of like it's weird because everybody says they have these firsthand sources, to these people camps, and they know what's going on with everything that's going on with these players. But at the end of the day, if it's not coming from these players, how 100% accurate is it? Because there's been a lot of things reported coming out of these players' camps, and they come out and say it's completely false. I don't know where you got this from. So these these big TV networks, they want to push these narratives. They just want to push these agendas. At the end of the day, they need clicks, and they want to report things that are going to bring back more audience feedback. So I don't think that they just made something up. I do believe they probably heard something, but at the end of the day, I don't know how credible it is because maybe they had a little argument, right? Teammates always have arguments. We've seen it with every single team. So maybe it was a little argument like, the KD and Draymond situation that got blown out of proportion. Because, again, this offseason, I'm seeing these three guys. Everybody said they were beefing. Everybody said they want to play with each other. I'm seeing Kevin Durant and James Harden. Maybe they did have a little stint because Kevin Durant didn't draft them, in the All-Star game. People really bought into that. But I'm seeing them hanging out right now in the offseason. I like Kevin Durant coming to Kyrie Irving's defense. I'm looking at James Harden and Kyrie Irving, talking back and forth. So I think things got blown up. I honestly believe the reasons why James Harden wanted to get out of there had nothing to do with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, more of that franchise, the ownership and management. But I think people wanted to, say that it was the players and they didn't gel. So right now, I don't want to blame the networks. I think they were, reported what was given to them. But you can't always believe, something that's coming from somebody else unless that person that is being reported on says it. That's in my personal opinion.
Okay. I'll take that. It's been annoying how Kyrie's been covered for the last year and a half, or however long it's been. But if y'all ain't got factual information, just cover the basketball side. Like, don't try and pit people against each other that ain't even against each other, just for the sake of your ratings. That's nasty to me. Kenny, was you gonna say something?
No, it wouldn't be the first time. That's everybody likes to sometimes say players play the media card, but there's guys or there's writers that have agendas. We see it all the time. Whether it's how they cover teams or when it comes to Hall of Fame, different things of that nature. You see biases and things of that sort. So this ain't nothing new.
Fair enough. Kind of with that being said, according to the report, KD said it's me or them. The same is true. That has been true since he requested the trade. He got 4 more years there, like under contract. So given that, what do you guys think happens with Kevin Durant this season? I'll start with you, Chris.
It's so tough because one, I don't think Brooklyn really wants to get rid of him. Because I'll say this, that Jaylen Brown deal, if they really wanted to get rid of Kevin Durant, that deal would have got done by now. Because you're getting back a top 25 player, you can get back more pieces. If they really wanted to trade Kevin Durant, there's no doubt in my mind that a deal would have been made. They would have really pursued something. But I think they put that ridiculous asking price out there, knowing that it would take a while, so they had time to try to, make the relationship better. At the end of the day, right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Durant sits. I think, a lot of people aren't talking about that, and I don't think he will. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if he sits because I don't think Brooklyn has the guts to trade him. To me, right now, they're trying to, make this relationship, make this team work. I don't know if they have the guts to trade him. I don't know if they have the guts to even fire, Sean Marks or Steve Nash. So right now, it's literally on the Brooklyn Nets. And I don't see them making a move. So I wouldn't be surprised if KD sits. Do I think he's going to sit again? No, I think Kevin Durant wants to play. Again, his Brooklyn team is very, very nice. If you can't give her to Sean Marks, at least, Steve Nash might have to go. I think if you can convince him, listen, we'll bring in, just naming names, but a veteran coach like a Mike D'Antoni, not saying him, but just coaches that's been around. If you can try to convince him and this team that if you bring in a veteran coach, maybe Sean Marks has to say, but I bring in a new coach, maybe that betters things out. But right now, it's looking bad for Brooklyn. And if I had to put my money on it, I say he sits. I'm going with it now. If I had to put my money on, he sits. He sits until his point is made.
And that's what kind of my question was before. You said they don't really want to trade him. So if you don't want to trade him, why are you leaking reports? It doesn't make sense. His personality. we saw what at the Warriors parade what set him off. So like that. I just don't understand the reason they would leak the report today. Like that's screaming bad press. And
it's not helping your cause.
It doesn't. Other than now you definitely can't fire him. Like, so what was that just I don't get
it. To me, you basically just to me, what this says is that we're basically hunkering down.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're closing ranks. It's gonna be us against y'all. So it's Cy, Nash, and Marks versus the players. That's why I said like it's gonna be one of the two narratives where the inmates can't run the asylum. So from the front office perspective, I think it's that. And they want to do everything within their power to make sure that they know that people know that they're not going to be bullied, that they're not going to be painted into a corner, they're not going to be forced to make a decision. And in the long run, it's not helping your cause. That's why I say, like, to me, like you leaking this doesn't help you at all because that's not helping you be able to make a deal because you're putting out there to other teams that this guy's going to be a headache. This guy's going to be a problem. So how is that helping you get your asking price in a trade? Like, to me, you keep this in-house. It's not helping you. If you want him to stay, like you're basically telling them, yo, either you play the way we tell you to play and how you tell under the conditions that we tell you, or you're not playing at all. And then you flip-flopped and did that when you did that with Kyrie. So why would I believe that? That makes no sense.
Brooklyn looking bad right now, and and it's their fault. And I'm going to continue to say it's Brooklyn's fault. This whole process.
I hate to say it it's like almost they taking a page out of a Jim Dolan book. It's like a Jim Dolan play. Like I feel like I'm looking at deja vu here.
I was going to ask you earlier, Kenny, which franchise front office is worse?
Yo, that's what's funny to me. It's making the Knicks actually look like a stable franchise.
Like the way in which you can mess up something that should be so great. I don't know if it's a testament to like the Bulls and the Warriors and those super teams that was able to work together, but this is just a mess. Like, I don't know if you could be running things worse than what they're currently doing. And I am just at a loss for words at how this continues to unfold. And it's getting late early. So they definitely better figure it out. But other big news, I don't think we got to cover it because was y'all on last Thursday?
No,
I wasn't.
Okay, cool. So Roger Goodell does Roger Goodell things. And we kind of talked about what we thought they would do or what they wouldn't do and why they would or wouldn't do it. And ultimately, they've chosen to appeal. I haven't heard a ton on what they want. I think I've heard like a year and indefinite. But ultimately, we're here. I think y'all kind of know the backstory. I won't bore the people with the details, but I guess y'all thoughts on what the NFL has done and what you see coming. I'll start with you, Chris.
I mean, we went through this process, and some people would say, he got a suspension. Let's just leave it at that. But the NFL didn't get what the NFL wanted, so they're trying to, see if they get the thing, suspended longer. Me personally, I think we should just leave it be. He went through all the scrutiny. He's losing money. He's getting suspended. I feel like not saying the punishment fits the crime, but I feel like he got his punishment. So now let's let him play football. That's just me personally. I'm not going to be mad if anybody, feels any different. What the NFL, should be looking into, if the NFL, should leave it as is or try to get the suspension to a year plus. But me personally, I just feel like he got a suspension, let him serve 6 games, and fine him and let him play football.
Kenny, go ahead.
Yeah, This might be a little controversial, or whatever. The NFL is covering their behinds. To me, all they're doing is just covering their behinds. Like they really don't like. If they really wanted to drop the hammer down, then Roger Goodell would have stood over the appeal. Like you had in the collective bargaining agreement that if he appeals, that he has to stand before Roger Goodell or someone that he appoints. If the NFL really was, if everybody was really on board with this dropping the hammer on Deshaun Watson, then Roger Goodell would have heard this appeal, just like he did with all of the other cases. Just like he did with all of the other cases, and then what up, Josh? And he would have heard this appeal. To me, they're just covering their behinds because they know that they messed up, that they did not. The precedent was already set in terms of the most that people have gotten for this type of behavior, and the fact that they didn't address this and didn't add any escalators to it, and get that agreed to with the players union. Now they're stuck, and so now they're just trying to save face now and put this front up like they really are trying to go after this guy. They're really trying to appease, to quiet down the noise and the negative publicity. But they know that they can't, that they have no grounds in terms of what they could do with this, and so that's why he didn't know. That's why he's not hearing this appeal. And so this is just the NFL covering their tracks and making sure that they look like that they're really trying to, hammer this guy, but they're not really trying to do it.
Kenny said you didn't want to be controversial, so I'll see how this goes. Like, I am so sick of this. Like, this posturing. At what point do we say he settled with almost everyone and 2 grand juries did not find him guilty? People just throw that away like it didn't happen. Like, what more could he have done? And then he gets a verdict that, sure, the late Sue said what she said, but what are we doing? Like, what kind of standard are we setting? That if there is absolutely no criminal aspect of a behavior, no definitive proof of a behavior, you can lose 2 years of your career? Like, where is the reason and practicality in this? Like, I get emotion. I get the times we're in. But what are we doing? Like, this is just, it's disgusting to me. And I really have been fighting recently the idea to say that I think in a lot of ways it's racial. I do not believe if this was a white quarterback that had done this, that we would be here. Like, I think this would have been handled completely different. But they had the model black male of the future, and they are taking this opportunity to absolutely drag this all the way out. And it's sickening to me. And so now y'all mad because the team used a loophole to take care of their player. They structured the contract in such a way. Tom Brady does it every year. He restructures his deal and moves all his money out. Like, this happens. So because they did it to take care of one of their own, now that's scrutinized. So now the fact that he could potentially lose $1 million, that's not enough for y'all? Because to him, that's not a lot of money. Like, it's just absurd. The lengths I believe we are going. And I get all the allegations. Trust me, I get it. But at some point, there has to be some kind of guilt if you were going to go to these lengths to punish people. And I'm just over it. I really was hoping it would end there. And now we'll look for another NFL overcorrection at Deshaun's expense. And I think it's just disgusting. I really think it's disgusting, but those are my thoughts. Hopefully they'll decide this soon. Right now he's in limbo. And then there's some, I guess, discrepancy on if he can appeal. But we all know if he appeals, he then appeals to Roger. Like, what are we doing?
No, this is
This
once
is
it goes here, it goes
independent.
federal. But I'm saying so this was the opportunity for Roger Goodell to handle the appeal. Once he appointed another guy, I think that's it. Once this ruling comes down, that's it.
I hope so.
Unless I'm misunderstanding.
I hope so.
Once the appeal is done, then that's everything. The only other thing was to go federal, like with Brady. He went federal.
So, but the NFL ain't paying for it, or the PA ain't paying for that either. So, like I said, I hope it's over. But by all accounts, this is the guy that recommended 6 games for Zeke, and Zeke had nothing, like a non-credible witness. So even though this isn't Roger Goodell, we're going to get a Goodell-like suspension. And
it's window dressing. He gonna maybe he'll push it up to 8, push it up to 8 or 9. But this is window dressing.
If it sticks at 8 or 9, I will be pissed, but I'll live with that. But this thing double with the financial fine that they're trying to do to circumvent because he's a deal. Like at some point, a real court got to step in because this is getting crazy.
Because you can't.
They just make it up.
Now you're right, because now you're getting into collective bargaining. Now you're telling teams how they're allowed to shape their contracts. You already have you've already set the parameters for that with the salary cap. So now you can't tell teams how to structure their deals.
I think it's a mess.
Oh no, it's a total mess.
But that brings me to, you just talked about collective bargaining. So obviously this had been an issue before the last collective bargaining. The owners dangled some free drug testing, and they took it and ran with it. And ultimately, I don't think it was worth it. But given this situation and the others that have happened since the collective bargaining agreement was signed, what do you envision the players doing next time around, and what can they do to fix this judiciary process?
I think they're going to push to make sure. I think they're going to push to make sure that Roger Goodell is totally taken out of the adjudication process, or however you want to term it. I think they're going to push to get him out of it completely because it's a conflict of interest. Because you represent the interests of the owners. So I think they're going to push to get him totally out of that. I think they're going to make it the kind of the way it is now instead of, and I think they're going to I think it's going to be an easy fix. All I have to do, I think all they're going to try to do is just make it so that the way Roger Goodell did it just now is that how it's going to be going forward. That he can't be the judge, but he can choose the judge, or they'll both be somebody that they
can't
both
let him choose
agree on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's going to be something with some type of compromise to where he's he's not totally out of the picture, but he's not the one that's being the one that's hearing the appeal. So I think it's going to be something along that line.
So you say that part is simple. I can go with you there.
Well, I mean, to me, but of course, negotiations easier said than done.
So my follow-up to that is, how much do you think the players are going to be willing to cost or pay? Because that's what it's going to come down to. Y'all want Rod to take Roger's power, sure, but we need to split some of that split back. So, at how much do you think the players care about this current process?
I think, I'm sure. I guess that the only issue is going to be with that is maybe on the player side, maybe getting them to come to a consensus, because I think what the problem was that they had so many other issues that they were trying to get traction on and get some, that they kind of relented maybe for the sake of making a deal. So they kind of, gave in on some things and then, compromised on some things so they could get other things. So I think that was one of those things. And I think with this, I think it's going to take the union to come. There has to be a majority players that are willing to, stand up for this and be able to say, look, we got to take this power out of Roger Goodell's hands. And again, that's one of those things I get, like, to your point, it may be easier said than done, because we know historically that the NFL Players Union hasn't been the most unified,
to say the least. And I know it's not the time for it, but to me, what's the word? A sign of their division or even lack of backbone to me is that no players are saying anything right now. And if they all agree with the way this is being handled, I got nothing to say. But it's hard for me to believe that all the players think the owners in the NFL are handling this the right way and nobody's saying nothing. That, to me, speaks to how weak of a group they are. They didn't defend Cap. They're not defending Deshaun. They don't really defend the players. When stuff like this happens, players shut up in the NFL. And I think that is alarming for me if they're going to go into a CBA and if they won't speak up, they're not going to last. They're not going to be unified. They're not going to be ready. And they're going to sign another bad deal. So that's my 2 cents on, where I feel like they are at. But it's really disappointing because I feel like they should have learned something by now. Y'all are too close to the NBA and even MLB in some instances to still be so weak. Like,
yeah. And the crazy thing is that you are the most popular sport here in this country. Like, your ratings are the highest out of all the sports in this country. Like, if anything, if there's the one thing that these TV deals and these networks and these owners could at least afford to lose, is your services. So I think the fact that they haven't been able to really use that leverage to I guess, for lack of a better term, get the same, or not maybe not all, but some of the things that MLB and some of the things that the NBA has gotten, like, for one, like, fully guaranteed contracts. Like, I can't, that we're in 2022 and we still don't have fully guaranteed contracts as part of the CBA is baffling to me.
Yeah. I obviously, I'm a huge football fan, but man, I don't know if it's an ownership thing. I don't know if it's just a stigma thing, but they just keep missing it. So we'll see what comes of it. Maybe there's not enough player executives that have kind of been on both sides or something. I don't know, but I just do not like the way things are being handled. But we will continue along with the football route. Speaking of a quarterback, we've seen Joe Burrow riding a cart. We've seen Matt Stafford have a phantom weird baseball-like injury that they couldn't really describe. We've heard of some other Jameis rolled his ankle. Like, should we be on alert? Should quarterbacks be by the phone waiting? Because we've had quite a few instances that are disturbing. So far from what you've heard, which one would you be most concerned with?
I think I'm more concerned about Stafford. Anytime you're talking about elbow issues, like, that always scares me, especially, being a guy that follows baseball and that's a fan to a degree. Anytime you hear that issues about the elbow, like, they always are super cautious. I remember last year when Dak was having some elbow concerns, and they consulted with the Texas Rangers, just to see what they did in terms of when their pitchers dealt with the elbow issues. So I just think that's always a little scary. Ankle injury for Jameis is definitely something that you might be concerned about, especially because he's coming off of the ACL. But to me, that the Stafford with the elbow like that's more concerning for me.
No, I'm with you on that. And it's weird kind of how it's popped up or came, like how it's just kind of become a situation. So I definitely would be more concerned. I did see him I think it was today. He was like playing DB versus Cooper Kupp. So it doesn't seem to be a big deal. I know it was last year when Dak had like something wrong with his arm. He had a dead arm for like maybe a month or so. So I'm not super worried about any of them yet, but I don't like lower body injuries for Jameis at all. And then the Stafford thing is something that we're gonna have to kind of keep an eye on. But hopefully people can get through preseason as healthy as possible and be good to go. With that, we will. Do we know Chris? Are you an Eagles fan, Chris?
Why are you asking me that? Are you a Commanders fan?
I am.
Yeah,
I just had to make sure.
The man is Philly. He's Philly everything.
Okay, you gotta make sure. So far, the NFC East is a division that, could be up for grabs depending on who you talk to. A lot of people seem to like the Eagles. That's yet to be seen if Hurts can get it done. But given all that is going on in NFC East, Dallas, most valuable franchise in all the world, has a running back situation that after this year, he will be owed no guaranteed money. Historically, if you look at the numbers, they are atrocious as they've fallen off of a cliff. And the offensive line has done nothing but get older and less formidable from before. So my question, and I'll start with Kenny, who I believe is a Cowboys fan, is where do you see Ezekiel Elliott playing next year?
I think he's back with the Cowboys, but he's going to have to renegotiate, or he's going to have to, make some. You're going to have to make some adjustments to his contract. I think the smart thing that the Cowboys did was that they front loaded this deal, and the fact that there's no guarantee money after this makes it basically gives them the hammer that they need to be able to say either one or the other. Either you're going to renegotiate, or we're going to cut you because we got Pollard as an insurance policy. So I think he's back, and I think it depends on how he looks this year. If he's productive, and him and Pollard are able to be that 1-2 punch, and then he's able to still be stay healthy because last year he dealt with injuries. So the fact that he's supposed to be in the best shape of his life, quote unquote, that's what most guys say in this offseason, it seems like. But the proof is in the pudding. So he's gonna have to definitely produce and be productive, or he's gonna have to renegotiate, or he's gonna be out the door.
So I'll ask this before I go, and then we'll get Chris involved as well. If that is the case, I don't want to say that.
I feel like you gotta say something crazy.
No, I don't want to go necessarily too crazy. I think he can be. I just don't know that I see him being that Zeke again. So you think he's going to have what kind of year, Kenny?
No, I think he's going to have to adjust to how do I put this? He's going to have to adjust or he's gonna have to cede some of his workload to Pollard. Like he's not going to. I think the days of him getting over 300 carries in the season are over with.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he can do that anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think he's going to have to find a way to be effective with less touches. I think he's going to have to catch the ball in the backfield more. I think we're going to see some formations with him and Pollard in the field at the same time. I think we're going to try to be creative with that as well. So I just don't think it's the days of Zeke being a bell cow running back. Those days are over with.
So no, I definitely agree with that. I will also say a lot of people obviously talking trash about the NFC East and least and all that other trash. Defensively, our division is pretty solid. Mm-hmm. So the defenses that he's going to have to go against, yeah, they might not be high scoring. Yeah, the teams might not be great overall. But defensively, most every team got a really solid front seven.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be hard. I agree he's going to be splitting carries, and he's going to have to play some tough defenses a lot this year. So I like Zeke. I want the best. He obviously was one of the first running backs to get paid, and he got some other running backs paid too. But I don't know. I don't know how he makes it back unless he takes a heck of a haircut. Because Pollard, you're gonna have to pay to keep him, but he's not an every down back either because he don't stay healthy. So we'll see what happens. But definitely, Chris, want to get you in here. Your thoughts on what you think is going to come from Zeke and where will he end up next year?
I'll say this, I have a very strong dislike for the Cowboys, but I respect their players, and especially if I've been following them since they were in college. And Zeke was a guy I watched his college career, and when he came out, one of the rookie year, sophomore year, one of the best, if not some would say the best running back in the league at that time. I was proud of him, and I like where he's at now. And yes, you could say, well, we're all gonna say he got a crazy contract that doesn't look good right now. But at the end of the day, I don't think his slump is all his fault. I look at the offensive line that's gotten worse. I look at the way teams play the Cowboys. It'll change to trying to stop Zeke. So, of course, Pollard is going to be able to go off more if everybody's forced to stop Zeke. So, with that being said, Zeke has to also recognize that and say, okay, maybe let me take less money. Hopefully, they can reinvest it into the offensive line. Let's change my game. Let me be more of a third outside, because I look at Pollard. Pollard might play in the slot a little bit this year with the wide receivers being banged up right now for the Cowboys. So if I'm Zeke, I'm taking advantage of the opportunity. I'm catching the ball at the backfield. I'm making sure I'm getting the best runs as possible. I think Zeke is staying with the Cowboys only because the way teams value running backs is definitely different. Because you look at a lot of teams that's winning these Super Bowls and they don't have a high-paid running back. It's just the nature of the beast. But do I think you need a running back to be successful? Yes. Do I think Zeke is still one of the best running backs in the league today? Yes. You put him on any other team with their offensive line, he puts the same type of numbers. You saw that we had a very healthy offensive line. It's healthy. His offensive line has not been healthy for the past couple of years. It hasn't been the same. I said we. I didn't mean to say we.
It's okay. It's okay.
I didn't mean to say we.
Everybody wants to be a part of America's team. You love it or you hate it. So
y'all haven't been America's team since the 90s. Look, I'm talking about Zeke. Okay, I'm getting riled up because I'm talking about Zeke. This is a guy, I watched him play in college, so I'm a huge fan of him. Not the Cowboys. You got me saying things that I don't mean. If I said we, I take that back. Everybody slips up. Everybody slips up once in a while. Okay. The point I'm trying to make is Zeke is going to be a Cowboy. And the Cowboys need to, make sure they structure his deal right, because if you get rid of him and say Pollard's going to be your number one, you're going to be in big trouble.
Okay. We will indeed see. So y'all have Zeke as the best back in the NFC East?
I would give him the only reason I would give him the nod, one, over Miles Sanders, because he's been consistent after his rookie year. Saquon Barkley, I haven't seen him really after his rookie year. I don't know who the Commanders' running back is right now. I'm pretty sure he's very, very solid.
Antonio Gibson, put some respect on his name.
I said he's probably very, very solid.
Yeah, I bring back McKissick or no?
Right now,
he did. He took some money.
Zeke is the number one right now. Sad to say.
Okay, Kenny, I'm guessing you agree.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, whatever.
But they still got a long way to go if they want to be the favorites in my division.
Wow. Okay.
And I'll take it there if y'all want me to take it there.
I mean, hey, that's what you're supposed to believe, so it's okay.
I mean, what you want to hang your hat over? A quarterback? I'm gonna save my take for the end. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Well, with that, we had a Hall of Fame game. I did not get a chance to watch. Did anybody else watch?
2 seconds of it. I didn't watch it.
I watched it.
Once the delay hit, I was like, oh, I'm out.
So I will be honest. It's been really weird. I haven't seen like any highlights from that game. Like I missed that sports cycle. I don't know what happened.
No, it wasn't.
It's as if the game didn't happen. But we had football back, which is crazy. So I think we got some more games definitely this weekend. Yeah. And it's the ball will be rolling from there. But before we get into all that, I want to get your takes early on. I need a sleeper pick to go to the playoffs this year.
Okay.
So I will start with you, Chris. Who is your sleeper pick to go to the playoffs this year?
Minnesota Vikings. They're my sleeper pick to go to the playoffs. I look at them last year, and over 80% of their losses came by a touchdown or less. Not saying that they would have won all those games that they lost, but you give them half those wins and they're a playoff team. And I look at this division right now. Not saying Green Bay's falling off. I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon because when you have a top defense and you're asking Aaron Rodgers to just be a game manager, you're going to be successful. But I do think they're going to, be a very, very tough team, especially in the NFC right now, where it's very up and down and it's not, top heavy, when I look at the AFC. So I think the Vikings are definitely going to be a wild card spot for sure. Don't want to say they're division winners. I'm still going with the Packers. But I think the Vikings are going to have a huge season this year, shock a lot of people, and make a lot of noise. So my Vikings are my sleeper team.
I like it. Kenny, who you got?
Yeah, man, he stole my pick, man. I was like, oh, that was literally who I thought about because to me, I've been on record about this. I've never been a big Mike Zimmer fan. I think he was I think he's best suited as a defensive coordinator. I think that team kind of is underachieved the last few years. And even though I'm not a big believer in Kirk Cousins, he does, he's a high level game manager, I would say. So he's not going to lose you. He's going to win you more games than he cause you to lose games. Mm-hmm. So I just think that they're, and then offensively, man, they got some serious pieces. You have a healthy Dalvin Cook. You know what I'm saying? You got what's my man name? You got those two receivers.
Jay Jettis, Thielen.
Yeah, you got those. You got two great receivers, and I think they just picked up a tight end. Then they signed. Did they sign O.J. Howard?
I think so.
Yes,
I think so.
So I just think that they're really offensively. I think that they have some serious firepower there. And I believe they made some upgrades on the defensive side of the ball. So I just think that they were right there, and they just need that little push to get over the hump. And I think while Green Bay is still the class of the division, I think that they're going to take a little bit of a step back because I really, as great as Aaron Rodgers is, I think when you look at that team, you're going to take away the run and then challenge Aaron Rodgers to beat you with those receivers because it's really nobody on that any of those receivers that's really going to strike any fear into a defense right now. So as crazy as it sounds, I think you're going to have to play that type of defensive football against the Packers. So I think they're going to take a little bit of step back and not be as productive.
Just a quick update. O.J. Howard actually is in Buffalo.
Oh, okay. I know he went. I know he went somewhere thriving.
Yeah, I know they signed. I want to say that they signed a good tight end.
Before I go, I'm going to ask this question. Who do you think will win more games? The Jets or the Jaguars?
Oh man. For my sake, I hope the Jaguars, because they're on every week here. I at least want to
I'm gonna
watch
say
some
the
competent football.
I'm gonna say the Jets. Sadly, I don't know. I mean, I want to go Jags because of QB, but I think the Jets right now. I mean, I don't know, man. They both gonna suck. I don't know. They both roster is. I say they both compete. I go Jets because I like their coach more. Sorry, Doug P. I know you brought me a Super Bowl.
So I'm gonna do this in two parts. I'm making the rules up as I go, just like the NFL.
You good? You flow with it.
So my first sleeper pick, and I think they're a sleeper pick, although maybe others don't think they're a sleeper pick, is I think it's the Indianapolis Colts. I think they've brought in a real quarterback. We've seen a revelation in their running game. The defense has been solid. The core is young. I think they have a more competent quarterback. Doesn't say a lot from my Commanders quarterback, but I think they were a better quarterback play away from being a really good team last year. I think with the some of the things they've done in the offseason, I think they're right there. And I believe especially with the division they're in, it's there to be took in a lot of ways if they can just handle their business. So that's my team. But the reason I asked y'all about the Jags and the Jets, if Zach Wilson can take a step forward, I think the Jets gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I think they've been down for a while, but they just need him. I feel like they are what Washington was last year. And Heineke took a step and we were more competitive. I believe if they can get Kirk Cousins-like play, speaking of the Vikings, out of the quarterback this year, I think they're right there. That division, it's hard for me to believe in Miami. We'll get to in a moment. I'll talk about probably the Patriots. I think there's an opportunity, and I like the coaching staff that they got. So that's my. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but if they can get some solid quarterback play, I think they'll be in a heck of a position. I am not as high on Jacksonville, but hopefully, Kenny, for your sake, it is better.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll just be taking a nap during the 1 o'clock games, and so I can watch the 4 o'clock game. But no, I think you guys are right. I think that the Jets are really close. I think defensively, we've seen them be really, really solid, and just if they could just get that offense to just give them something that they got a chance to really take a step. And I read the New York Post because I still try to keep up with my New York sports. I'm down here in Florida, and they've been really talking about how well the offensive weapons are, or how much better their offensive weapons are this year, or how they've been looking in camp. So hopefully that translates, and I think that we could see the Jets get up to maybe I think they're just going to be highly competitive, kind of like I think they could be kind of like how Minnesota was last year, where they'll be in a lot of close games, and we'll see some go their way and some not go their way, and then they'll be competitive throughout the season. So I think that's the best case scenario for the Jets.
Definitely, fair enough. So we went through our sleepers. Who's gonna bust? It's bound to be somebody. Somebody got to be a loser. So Kenny, I'm gonna start with you first this time.
Yeah,
who's bust?
You referred to it. You referred to a team in the AFC East, and I'm gonna just go on record and say it: the New England Patriots are going to be a bust this year. I'm just not a believer in their offense. I'm just not a believer in their skill positions. Other than tight end, I don't really see anybody that can consistently make plays on outside. On the outside. In terms of that wide receiver corps. I'm just not a believer in that wide receiver corps. I like their tight ends, but I'm just not a believer in that wide receiver corps. And I'm not sure about Mac Jones they say, he's got, they say he came in great shape and his arm has gotten stronger, and hopefully that is the case. But even if it does, I just don't know who he's going to throw it to. Other than those tight ends, like who's putting fear in your offense outside? Who's the guy that you got to double on the outside? It's nobody, in my opinion. So I just think that they take a step. I just think they take a step back, and I think the Belichick magic is going to finally start to wear off, and we're going to start asking those questions, kind of similar to where we're asking those questions about Pete Carroll. Is it time for him to step down? So I think they're going to be the bust.
No, I was going that same place. The second team that I see busting, and I hope I'm wrong, because I think the only way this team ends up being a bust is because the quarterback struggles, and that's San Francisco. I haven't heard anything great, really. I haven't seen him be healthy. They're talking about we're in no rush to trade Jimmy G. Like, all of that says to me, we ain't really sold on who we got at quarterback, and we are trying to figure it out because we've already jumped out there. And that just does not bode well, in my opinion. I think they're a team that we saw what they were last year with semi-competent quarterback play. So you think if you could get a little better than that, you should be in a position, because the division got weaker with Seattle. They've now fallen off a cliff. And I think what the offseason that Kyler's had, with Hopkins,
I was about to say, you got to still have questions about Arizona.
We don't know. So, and Hollywood Brown just got a speeding ticket. So I think the division's there, but I just don't know if the quarterback can do enough to get it done. So I'll go there. Chris, who you got?
I don't want to sound like a hater, but I really mean I don't want to sound like a hater, but I'm going with the Cowboys.
Yeah, you had to do that after you said we. I get it.
But I have it written down. I was going to say the Cowboys regardless. And when I look at this division, the reason why I feel like my Philadelphia Eagles are a clear-cut favorite, because when you take out, and I know this position is the most important position in the NFL, but when you take out, the quarterback, we have by far the best roster. And I'll say this: we have the best passing weapons. And let's say each team, that they're not able to pass the ball. Let's run the ball. We have the best run game. And then with all the improvements we made on defense, we already had the best front seven, only got better, drafting the Jordan Davis, bringing in Hassan Reddick.
Your running game is better than Dallas's running game?
Yes.
Miles Sanders and who?
As a team, you might have the better name, but as a team, who has a better running offense? I'm going with the Eagles. Who has the better O-line? I'm going with the Eagles.
I'll give you the O-line, but
when I look at the Cowboys,
he's factoring in Hurts' ability to run as well.
Okay.
That's why I said running offense, as in everybody. Okay. But when I look at the Cowboys, and the reason why I feel like they're going to be a bust is I don't think the team did enough in the offseason for me to say, okay, they're still going to be, a playoff team. Because I look at Dak, and a lot of people like to scrutinize Dak, but he gets the job done. And, maybe it's not for the entire season. Maybe it's not when it matters, some people may say. But he gets the job done. He takes the team where the team needs to go. But they didn't help him out at all. Didn't help him out in the wide receiver game. Yes, you got CeeDee Lamb, but who else you have? I love the tight end. But, again, that's not enough in today's NFL. Especially when I look at that defense, and outside of Michael Parsons, who's that next pass rusher? DeMarcus Lawrence. I haven't heard his name for like years since he got that money. I look at their D-backs. Yes, you got Diggs. He's going to give you them 12 interceptions. He's also going to go 1,000 yards. Who else is in that D-back group is going to make plays? To me, this defense is not what it needs to be to help out this offense, and they're not good enough together to support each other. So I think they're going to fall off, and I don't think they make the playoffs. I think that they win at most 7-8 games.
So I will follow up on that. And I'm going to compare it to another team that's really popular and likes to talk a lot. I think Dallas has the potential to get quote-unquote exposed, and I think that's part of the Trayvon Diggs thing in camp. He was getting beat. There's more tape now. when you got double-digit picks, when you defensive rookie of the year, you become a focal point on defense now. And I completely agree with Chris. I think they're a worse team, definitely to start the year, until they get Gallup back. And then the chemistry between Dak and what are they a running team? Are you guys a passing team? Like, I think y'all got some issues to figure out. And I think y'all have a terrible head coach. So he's not going to lead y'all necessarily to victory. But I still think the talent's there. So I guess it remains to be seen. But I could see that. And Philly could run away with the division. The talent is there. The same thing I said about Jets. I think the same is true.
I think we're getting a little carried away with like there's not questions about Jalen Hurts being
I said the same thing about the Jets.
A definitive starting caliber.
You right, but look at the roster around him. Like
right,
they made it so much simpler. You got to be able
to pull the trigger. You can have all the talent you want. You got to be able to pull the trigger.
You right.
And
there's no excuse. That's for sure. He has everything.
He got people that can run routes and get open.
Yeah, he has everything he needs to be successful.
And he will be successful. And we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about this. How my Eagles just dominated the division, and it is
Chris over there trying to manifest stuff.
I mean, listen. Again, I feel strongly in saying it. I feel strongly in saying this. Your Cowboys got worse. The Giants are the Giants. The Commanders got Carson Wentz as their leader.
All right, so
the Eagles only got better.
We're gonna do something real quick since Chris is talking crazy. Not crazy. He's just
it's kept it up for his team.
So we're gonna do start, sit, cut, and I'm gonna go Hurts, Lamar, Dak. Chris, who you starting? Who you sitting? Who you cutting?
Lamar, Hurts, Dak. Just in that order.
As of today.
Lamar, Hurts, Dak. In that order.
You're being a homer.
Okay. Let's see who has a better year this year.
So are you willing to say on the record, are you guaranteeing that Jalen Hurts is going to have a better season than Dak Prescott?
Guarantee.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
And how? So what are we basing that on? Because Jalen runs a lot. So
wins, touchdown interception ratio, passing yards, and we're not going to take away the fact that he can run the ball. We're not going to just take that out.
So we're just going to use our eyes, and we'll be able to see.
We just like Dak is just a sitting duck back there in the pocket. He's not.
No. I mean, we do know Dak is the king of empty calories. So we do know that he's gonna put up some numbers because they're gonna probably be behind.
just like that one year, he just thrown up all them yards. I forgot, like 2-3 years ago.
I think there was like 1-4, but he was leading the league in passing. Something.
Oh my god! And they said he, you know what? I'll say this: all respect to Dak, I think he's a hell of a quarterback. But it's my Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants, and it's gonna be that order, and I can guarantee it.
I just wanted to get it. I just wanted to hear Chris say it. That's all. Okay.
I stand by what I said.
We appreciate it.
As a homer, as you should.
Don't act like I don't give credit to teams that's not the Philly teams. You can't say I don't do that.
Are, but that star bench cut is a homer pick. It's fine.
Okay. So Chris, you mentioned it earlier. James Harden and KD were hanging out with Travis Scott. He had a show in London. So it's a long trip. They hung out. Seemed like they was having a blast. What do you expect from James Harden this year, given that he gave the money back? He looked to be in great shape. He posted something on his Instagram the other day. Veins coming all out his arms. He looked like he's ready to go. Chris, what do you envision for James Harden this year?
I'm not going to sit up here and say he's going to return back to James Harden caliber, MVP caliber, Houston Rockets scoring 36 because it's been a few years since I've seen that. So I'm not going to just say, oh, now that's being a homer. Realistically, I see him averaging at least 25. His field goal percentages last year were at an all-time low. I think he was trying to figure out where he can thrive in this offense. But now you got a young scorer in Maxey. You got a guy in Embiid, and I feel like I look at him, in these pickups, it looks like he lost 10 to 15 pounds, if that.
Yeah.
So I think his, stamina is going to be better. He's going to go back to that Houston stamina. So I think he's going to average at least 25 points and at least 11 assists. I think
so 20 and 10 for sure.
Yeah, yes, I do, because I look at how he was playing, and he was taking James Harden type shots. They just weren't falling in because I don't think he was in the best shape. I also don't think he was attacking defenses like he's used to. So if he not saying he's going to be that Houston James Harden, but I look at him in Brooklyn, and he was putting up 20 and 15. He was putting up 28 and 13, things like that. I think with the big guy down low in Embiid, I think a Tobias Harris, Maxey on the wings, a PJ Tucker who's going to knock down that corner three. He's going to get those assists. And I think the floor is only going to open up more for him in Philadelphia. So he's going to be able to score more. So I definitely think a 25 and 10 is is definitely there for James Harden. I'm not going to say he's going to be first team All NBA because of the guards we got right now. I think he's going to be second or third team All NBA, definitely an all-star. We're going to see him, in a conversation for one of the best guards in the league. He's going to have that year that he's going to remind people he's James Harden.
And so my question for you is, given Joel Embiid, you said you got the man down low.
Yeah.
The way Harden plays, a lot of his game where it's built off his ability to get to the basket.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get to the basket and there's people waiting, like you think that Harden and Embiid can coexist in that
easily
function?
Easily, because the floor is going to be spread around them. So while they're doing their pick and roll, they're going to have three shooters shooting above 40%, really 42% around them all outside the court. So nobody's going to crash down to help. I look at James Harden attacking. Embiid can shoot now. It's not like Embiid can't shoot the mid-range. Not like Embiid can't shoot the, three-pointer. Embiid can pop when he needs to. So that's either going to open the lane up more for Harden, or if they want to help, Embiid can crash down sometimes too. Pretty easy dump off. I think they're going to find a connection for each other. I don't think, Embiid is going to take this big step back because Harden's so versatile on offense. He's just going to make it easier for him. It's not like Ben Simmons where he can't shoot, so they're going to stack the paint. And B's going to get more looks because of how James Harden is attacking the defenses. So I think his 3-point percentage, and Embiid is going to go increase higher because he's getting more open threes. I think his mid-range percentage is going to go higher because he's getting more open mid-ranges. Again, while him and James Harden are working their pick and roll, the floor is spread out around them. It's not like you got a guy in the dunker spot that can't shoot. Now you got Matisse Thybulle who can't shoot. You're going to have a PJ Tucker. You're going to have a Tobias Harris. You're going to have a Maxey. You're going to have all these guys that shoot above 40% from the three-point line. Who are you going to help off of? So the paint's going to be open for those two to eat. So Embiid's going to put up his, 28 and 12. Embiid's going to eat. He's going to have MVP-type numbers, but they're not going to give it to him. So I don't think it's going to – I don't think it's going to hurt Embiid's game at all, honestly. I think, if anything, his percentages goes up. Hopefully he can play less minutes because the team is so dominant. I think that's going to be the situation for Philadelphia this year.
Okay, I'll go with that. So what gets me to, or Kenny, did you want to add anything to the?
No, I'll be quick. I just think I'm not sure if 25 is going to be in the Sixers' best interest. I think he might need to be between 20 and 22. Because I think you got to keep. I think the key to the Sixers season is keeping Tobias Harris engaged, making sure that he is an active part of the offense. So I think he might be between 22, and it's not that many points, but I think he might be better off if he's like a 20 and 12 or 20 and 13 type of guy.
Yeah.
To make sure that Maxey is getting his, and make sure that that Tobias is getting his, and making sure to your point that that floor space, and you're going to be able to get those corner threes. So I just think I think he might need to take a little bit of a step back offensively and be a little more of a facilitator, maybe, for them to be at their best. But we'll see as the season goes along.
See, the reason why I said like 24, 25 is because I look at him with Philadelphia 76ers last year, and he was shooting 40% on 13 shots. And his first time in Brooklyn, he was shooting, 47% on 16 shots. I feel like, if you dot, he still takes 13 to 14 shots, but his percentages are better. I don't think he's he's doing anything more extra. If his 3-point percentage, everything was at an all-time low for him last year as far as shooting. I don't see that happening again this year. So he doesn't have to shoot more shots. He just has to be more efficient. And I think you make an extra shot, extra 3-pointer, you get to the lane one more time. That's the extra 2-3 points. I'm with you. The key for the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey has to be as good as he was last year, if not better. And Tobias Harris has to stay engaged. We can't see Tobias Harris falling off. We can't see, Tobias Harris not engaged in the offense, only shooting, contested shots. Tobias Harris sometimes going to have to be a rhythm player, and that means everybody might have to take a less shot or two. One thing, if I'm Tobias, I would say, can I be with the second unit more when you're taking about Embiid, when you take about Harden, so I can get more shots with that second unit, be that real scorer with that second unit. That's what I would do if I'm Tobias Harris, and I feel like he's going to have a bigger impact if he does something like that. But I'm with you. James Harden, he's going to do his job to make sure everybody is engaged. But I think if he's efficient, he doesn't have to take, 17 shots. He can take 14 shots, make about 6 to 7 of them a night. I think things are going to be easier for this offense because everybody can shoot. And you got another 30-point scorer next to you, and you got 2 guys that can drop 20. So it's all about efficiency right now when I look at Philly.
Okay. Now the roster is rounded out. I think I still need to figure out the Harris situation. I don't think
he's probably going to stay on the roster. Sadly, I would love to move off of him to see if we can get like a 2-for-1, but I don't know what's available right now for us to get and what can we get right now. So I think, he's probably going to come back as a Philadelphia 76er. And I think, by the time we got to pay everybody, the goal is to get him off the books. So when Embiid, Harden, Maxey, these guys need these extensions. The goal is not to have to be able to pay Tobias Harris. Sadly, he's definitely a good NBA player, but, he got away with murder when he got that contract for the Sixers.
Came free at the right time.
No all-stars, and got the bag.
Just take advantage of the market.
I don't blame him at all.
So, in the blame game, DeJounte Murray and Paolo Banchero have apparently deep beef that is new to me. Didn't know that it existed. For those who didn't know, I don't know if it's a pro-am or just summer league, whatever.
Well, it was a tournament. I said tournament. A tournament. Yeah.
So somehow they ended up matched up on opposing teams, and somewhere out leading up to this point, DeJounte Murray felt disrespected by Mr. Banchero, and so we talked about the street ball earlier to start the show, hit him with a move, threw it out the glass, and dunked it, and proceeded to run his mouth. And I remember on this show a while ago, I told y'all, DeJounte in Atlanta, Trey better be careful. And we're starting to see way more personality out of this young guy that we ain't seeing in San Antonio. And so I said it then. I just believe it's coming to fruition as we speak. But your thoughts? Was this too much? Was it too aggressive? Like, this is a rookie. You're an established player on the cusp of being an all-star. Is this beneath DeJounte? Was it warranted? Chris, what do you think?
I think we got to really take a step back and realize both these guys are from Seattle. Seattle, you can argue, it's a strong argument that top 5 when it comes to producing basketball talent.
Top 3, man, they got a lot of dudes.
Listen, and so with the backstory that I always kind of look into it is that obviously they knew each other, they had a relationship, and I guess DeJounte Murray's trying to say things change. He hasn't played a second in the NBA yet, so I don't know how much he changed from the outside looking in. But there's a play where he kind of runs over DeJounte Murray, kind of walks by him. You see DeJounte Murray getting a little upset. I love it, though. I love it. I hope they can get it squashed because I want these guys as Seattle fam to stay together. I don't want there to be no real beef outside of, some fake basketball, going back and forth. But I love it from DeJounte, and I said it from the jump. That was a huge pickup for Atlanta. Sadly, the NBA is stacked and the East is stacked, so I don't know where they fall right now. But as far as what he's going to do this year, I mean, you can argue, say he might sneak into All NBA third team. He's definitely, I feel like, going to be an all-star in the Eastern Conference. He could average a triple-double. DeJounte Murray is going to hoop for Atlanta. When I look at Paolo, I mean, right now, I think he's the number one option on this Magic team. And I feel like his game right now, people think he's one-dimensional, but he's going to shock a lot of people right now. He can pass, he could defend, especially when he's engaged. So I love it. I love, the energy from these two players, representing where they're from, and I think they're both going to have great seasons. Hopefully, like I said, they can get squashed, but, I'm with you. We're seeing a different side of DeJounte that I can't wait to see on the big stage. I'll say it like that.
Fair enough. I do want to follow back up with you, because you did say, you want them to work it out. They're both from Seattle or the Washington area. My apologies.
Yeah.
So, who do you think will extend the olive branch first, and who do you think should extend the olive branch first?
I would say one, hopefully somebody on the outside looking in, like Isaiah Thomas or Jamal Crawford, one of the older guys, comes out and squashes this immediately. Somebody that's a vet in the league, that's a vet with these young guys, or Nate Robinson. So somebody with that status comes in. But probably DeJounte, he's the older one. Or honestly, both of them. It shouldn't be on social media. So they both, need to come together and say, listen, we're going to keep this in-house. But again, hopefully a Jamal Crawford, Isaiah Thomas, and Nate Robinson, a Brandon Roy, one of these guys from Seattle, these OGs steps in and, kind of not corrects them, not, tell them how to do things, but just say, listen, man, we got to stay together. We don't need this on social media. If y'all got an issue, we take care of it outside of social media. Y'all take care of it on the court. But not everybody needs to be, in their business. So I think they both need to extend an olive branch, because at the end of the day, they had a relationship before this. So they need to, try to get it back. That's my opinion.
Kenny, question for you, kind of off of that. Do you think, because we've seen the Warriors and Grizzlies chirping all off season, do you think we're just now in the era where social media, hype, fame, that engine of quote unquote negativity, do you think that's here to stay when it comes to sports? Because I feel like there's an unending level of just online trash talk through the media and all that. Is that just the new sports franchise, sports landscape?
Yeah, as in the words of Draymond Green, the new media. Like everybody has their platform in which they could, speak their piece and say what they want to say and get it out to the masses. So I don't think it's going anywhere. And I think this is the age that we're in, where people don't settle their beefs, or they don't settle their discrepancies or arguments face to face. They do it through DMs. They do it through, acts and, mentions and things of that sort. So I think it's just a product of the age that we're in today. And I think the other part of it is that I love it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm here for it. I like the competition, because to me it got a little too buddy. We got a little too, everybody let's play together and team up and blah blah blah. So I'm here for it. I like the competition. So as long as it doesn't get too far, and to Chris's point, I think the older guys, or the elder statesmen, or get those guys to sit down and get together and if there's any beef, because who knows nowadays, man.
Yeah.
This could be a whole bunch. This could be clickbait at the end of the day, and they were just competing. So you never know.
I mean, I agree. I just I agree with you, Kenny. I think it's better now that people are more aggressive, people trash talk. Some of it's a little corny to me, but I get it. It is the age, the trolls, the gaslighting, all that. So I guess as long as you, like I said, to stay friendly and cool, I'm overall good with it. But ultimately, I think from what I remember the story, DeJounte brought it to the public. So I think he should be the one to fix it. Like, you can have whatever issues you have. You can do whatever you did in game, but you drew attention to a situation. So I think the onus should be on him as the older, as the senior, but also as the instigator in this aspect of it.
Right.
I think we should take the steps to make that right. And it's a young kid. You can have that conversation behind closed doors. And I don't think it'll echo to the point that as the point guard and as a leader, people would question him, but that's not leadership quality being displayed. Like you got to do better and be more cognizant if that's the role you're gonna play.
And from what I was reading, I think it's more one-sided because Paulo wasn't really going back at him. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was more one-sided that DeJounte was feeling the type of way. So I think this is more DeJounte's side than it is on Paulo's side. So I think that's why I say the OGs will get in this area like, yo, let's go ahead and squat. Let's not let this go any further. Y'all two talk this out, man to man, handle, say whatever needs to be said, whatever your feelings are, whatever he did that made you feel a type of way, y'all go ahead and speak on it and get this taken care of.
For sure.
Something happened because he definitely feeling the type of way.
Yeah, he said he's letting his number one pick stuff get to his head, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough to really speak on it how I kind of want to speak on it. So I'm gonna leave it like that.
Okay. So on to a different topic again. I am very, very curious to hear what these distinguished gentlemen have to say and who they would choose. So we had a situation, or one of the things I wanted to pose is a lot of times we hear people talk about the number 8 Kobe versus number 24 Kobe and which number should be retired and all of that when that time was coming. What I don't think enough people talk about is there's 2 LeBrons too. There's the 23 and there's the 6. So my question for you, gentlemen, is which one of those players are you taking? Are you taking Kobe at 8, Kobe at 24, LeBron at 23, or LeBron is number 6? And I will start with Chris.
This is so tough, right? Because some could say there's 4 LeBrons. You got young LeBron 20, you got young LeBron 23, you got him at 6, then you got him back at 23. Again with Cleveland. You got him with LA, but I'll keep it simple. I think I'm going number 6, LeBron. And I only say that because I saw
which 6 though?
Miami. Because at Miami, I think that's peak LeBron. I think right now we're seeing all his greatness with his tools, but I'm talking about peak physical, peak, I think, basketball was number 6 LeBron in Miami, because that's when I see him shoot 57% from the field as the main ball handler. And I saw him shoot 40% from the 3 for a guy that can't shoot a 3-pointer. I saw him be first team All NBA. He should have won Defensive Player of the Year. He lost to DeMarcus Gasol, who wasn't even first team All Defense. Saw him win MVPs, saw him win championships, finals MVPs, saw him, be the best player on the team that won a gold medal. Number 6 LeBron was the best LeBron that you'll see. The peak of his powers, he's playing power forward at like 260, still the fastest, jumping the highest, and that dominance, that era of dominance I saw, was unmatched. Sadly, his teammates couldn't keep up with him. They weren't the same that last year. Dwayne Wade was not the same player that his last year in Miami. Let's not do that. He wasn't the Flash. Okay, but I'm going number 6 LeBron, and it's tough. I really want to go 8 Kobe. The early 8 Kobe, I didn't get a chance to see that. I was born in 01. He sadly beat my Sixers that year. So I'm going 6 LeBron.
Kenny, you can
so
go
we're
ahead.
We're picking both. We're picking for both, right?
No, just one.
Just one. I was saying if it wasn't 6 LeBron, I would go 8 Kobe. I just didn't see all of 8 Kobe. So it's hard for me to say that.
Just Kenny, one thing I want to remind you, do know 6 LeBron was the one in the Maverick series.
That's fine.
Okay.
Kobe's the same one that airballed some shots in the playoffs. So let's not act like nobody has no blemishes on their record. He still lost to the Pistons when they were the favorites. Let's not saying that compares, but don't act like one record is squeaky clean.
Oh, that's fair, because that was prime Shaq.
I ain't pick A Kobe. I'm just
I'm just saying to his point, like that. That's fair because that was prime Shaq. I mean, you had an older.
If that's the one of all these options, if that's the one you take, is Dallas Finals LeBron. Knock yourself out.
But you act like you didn't see OKC Finals, then the Spurs Finals, then the Spurs Finals again, where the guy that won MVP only won it because he was guarding the best player on the court. Don't act like number 6 LeBron wasn't the most dominant player in that era by far. That was actually going to the playoffs.
That was all 5. That was guarding all 5 positions.
Thank you, all 5 positions. Don't act like after Shaq left. Don't act like number 8 Kobe was all peaches and cream.
I've never said anything about 8 Kobe.
Okay.
Kenny,
this is tough, man. I think I might have to go 24 Kobe. Because that's the 81-point Kobe. That's the winning the titles without Shaq, Kobe. That's the MVP, Kobe. So I think that's that was Kobe at his most dominant. So I think I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna give it a slight edge to LeBron and Ray, you kind of swayed me because that LeBron, that 6 LeBron in Miami was something serious, but that Dallas series, man, that really caused him to take a hit. Like, to be honest with you, if that Dallas series doesn't happen, and they win that championship, I think it's a lot closer to GOAT debate. I think that's the biggest thing that killed LeBron's GOAT debate. Like, if that happens, I think they're almost neck and neck, man.
It's an asterisk and a huge.
Yeah, because it's 5 and 6.
It's a huge.
And he's got 5 rings with 3 different teams.
It's still 10 straight.
It's super close, and and he's in 10 finals. So would he be 4 and 5 and 5?
He'd be 5 and 6, 10 straight.
I'll take it a step further, Kenny. On top of that, imagine if everything still happens, but Durant doesn't go to Golden State. So if he doesn't have the Dallas series and Durant doesn't go to Golden State,
yeah.
There's probably no GOAT debate to have.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they sweep the Warriors. I would see them keep going back and back and back.
Yeah, I think it would have been a
chess match. They would have had to been some adjustment. Somebody would have had to make the right adjustment. Which we kind of saw on defense in one part, but they would have continued the matchup. I think whether Durant was there or not, I think the series obviously looks different with Durant not being there. But I think they still get there.
But I think it's 2-1 Cleveland as opposed to
I think Cleveland. I think they have the upper edge in that.
Yeah.
I agree this is difficult. I'm going to talk probably as if it's not difficult, but that's just entertainment. But no, I agree 100% with Kenny. I think for me the answer is 24 Kobe. 24 Kobe also hit 60 to walk off. On top of everything else, 24 Kobe is the mentor to Kyrie. 24 Kobe is the mentor to Kawhi Leonard. 24 Kobe is just the brand ambassador. You covered the on the court stuff. I'm just more so talking outside of it. Like that ushered in that. I believe that's body armor Kobe. Like he was just different at that point. So the beating of the Celtics, I think, he didn't just win without Shaq. He won with a team that was not that great. He might have the NBA let a lot of people in, but really maybe one other deserving Hall of Famer. You can argue Artest will get in at some point. he had a career.
I
Powell,
don't think he will.
Powell possibly.
Powell will get in. Between
and
the liquor stuff and the international stuff.
I was about to say the international. That was what I was going to think. But that Kobe did it and did it hit the right way. No, I think it was 8 Kobe that demanded the trade. I'm not sure if 24 Kobe did that. But
I'm not sure what year that was.
He figured it out. And just got it done at the highest level. The 81, like that guy was just different. So I'm agree with my man Kenny on that. But
it's no argument for me. One thing I say is I can't say if we talk about off the court, number 6 LeBron is the beginning of player empowerment.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
But again, to me, that I'm not.
24 Kobe also is the WNBA champion.
Yeah, I'm not making no argument for it. Like it's no, for me. There's no clear cut because there's no clear cut at all.
Fair enough. So before we get up out of here, there's been a lot of talk. We talked about it across teams, tampering stuff, just all kinds of wild things this NBA offseason. My question for you guys, and we're going to cover it. I'm actually going to do this for 2 sports, but NBA wise, who do you guys think is currently the best rivalry in the NBA? Whoever wants to jump in.
You go ahead, Chris, because I really don't have one.
I mean, like right now, like right now, and this is not to be a homer, but I really think it's Philly Boston. I think right now that might be the biggest rivalry, because I think it's a lot of storylines with that. They go back and forth in the playoffs, and Boston always beats them. But in the regular season, Philly, gets the best of them. You got the Jason Tatum. People said he should have been drafted to Philly, and they were the 2 young teams that are being in the rise right now in the East, and they continue to go back and forth, not only regular season but in the playoffs. Boston always gets the best of them, even though it's always competitive. But I really can't think of any that's established right now. Like that's the only one that comes to mind. And I wasn't really trying to be a homer at all, but that's the only one that is still here. There was rivalries years ago
from historical.
Yeah, we got historical, or you got ones that were 3-4 years ago, but it's current right now. Like, I mean, you could say Milwaukee, Miami, but like it's tough. I think I can't think of a rivalry in the West. I can think of rivalries in the East, but they only been brewing for a year or two. The Philly and Boston has been here for 4 or 5 years. So that's why I'm going for
even
Boston.
Before that.
Even before that. But as far as currently, if we're talking about historic, then obviously you can go LA, Boston. We don't got to talk about it. But I was trying to think of something in the NBA right now, and for the longest rivalry as far as current, I can think of only Philly and Boston.
Yeah, I think that's the closest one right now. I think the one that's the most fun right now to me is Memphis and Golden State.
I was thinking about that one as well. I think this year is really gonna make a rivalry because they messed up in the play-in 2 years ago in the playoffs this year, and I'm a firm believer. Again, Ja Morant doesn't get hurt. That series different. Not saying they win, but I think that series is totally different.
6 or 7 games.
7. I'm saying 7, but I think. I mean, that's a fun one. It's tough. It's tough. It's super tough. And by the way, LA is not a rivalry because the Clippers.
Yeah, no.
It's not a rivalry.
No.
So that's where I was going to go.
Well,
West.
I mean,
not a rivalry.
It's a possibility, but we haven't seen it yet.
It's a rivalry, but I haven't seen them in the playoffs yet. That's why it's tough.
Presently constructed, those are galactic giants.
Not the Lakers anymore.
It should be, but we haven't seen it.
In the playoffs.
From the past.
That's what I'm saying. We haven't seen it.
It should be.
I agree.
So
if everything aligns right, that's probably the one that has the most potential.
Well, I hope they have them scheduled to play early so nobody gets hurt. But no, I think the Philly Boston is the best one we got going. I was gonna say Harden, Giannis, but I think they've seen
I mean
out.
that one. I mean, Philly. Like honestly, the East is so gritty that like those top 4 or 5 teams, they go at it. They like from Philly to Boston, from Philly Milwaukee, from Milwaukee to Boston Miami. Like I honestly, us 3-4 teams, we go at it, hard. And in the West, again, it's tough because everything's moving around. Like who's really going to state rival right now? We would say Memphis. Like who's the Mavs rival? They don't have one, but they're a young up and coming team. I can't really think
used to have them out west though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They used to have them, but right now I feel like the rivalries are more in the East. But I see these young teams in the West coming up, and
that Texas Triangle.
Yeah, I think that's going to come back.
That Texas Triangle. You have
except for Dallas, y'all sleeping on that. I think that
I
would hope.
Except for Dallas.
Oh yeah, I would hope Dallas and Memphis is the next good rivalry in the Western Conference.
That could be.
I would like that,
and that's why I push back on the Warriors Grizzlies, because it's just the gap is so wide. Like what Golden State has accomplished compared to what Memphis has accomplished, like y'all definitely punching up. And
it's for the headlines,
but it's like the only one.
Headlines.
It's the only one that has like they have history as far as they done met 2 years. Like in the West, I don't see a team
it's a
that
lot
has
of
any
yakking
history
going on. I think
exactly
that's also what adds to it.
That adds to everything, especially if they play on Christmas. I would love to see that on Christmas.
The NBA better handle that. I need LA to play. I need the Warriors, and but even if they play, it wouldn't mean a lot to me because I don't think the Warriors really care about the regular season. Because I said it and I stand on like I thought they was done. Once Clay came back and they couldn't figure out that pool thing, I thought they was in trouble. But Steph did what Steph does and they got it done. So definitely more power to them. But we got football, ladies and gentlemen. So I think the conversation will go a little different here. But who do y'all got? Best rivalry in the NFL currently? And Kenny, I'll start with you.
Man, to me, it's a couple of ways I could go. I could go.
Did he go away?
I think he did.
I think he gone. All right.
I think he did.
I'm gonna go.
Okay.
And then we'll see if we can get him back. I'm gonna go somewhere that's different, and this is not what I initially thought when I was coming up with the question, but right now in the day, I like the Tampa Bay New Orleans rivalry. I like the Saints Brady matchup that we've seen the last couple years. I like the history of those two groups. I like that they're technically small markets, but they've had like big battles. So I know it's not the historical Steelers or any of that stuff, but I just think right now that to me is set up to be the best rivalry. You could pick some of the AFC West, like I'm sure Broncos, Raiders is going to be nuts this year. But I just feel like from what I've seen based on proximity and based on everything else, I'm going to go Bucks Saints, and I'm really looking forward to that first game. Hopefully Jameis is healthy. Hopefully Julio will be healthy. And I just think it's going to be exciting to see, and I hopefully Tom will figure him out for good, but that's mine.
Okay.
Kenny, do you want to jump back in?
Yeah, I got two. New Orleans and Tampa Bay.
Man, that's what I just did.
That was
okay. That was 1-1, and then my other one is Kansas City and Buffalo.
I mean, you just take everybody's then, Kenny.
I was gonna say because I was thinking that too, but I wasn't sure.
I couldn't pick between the two, so
yeah. Okay.
Those are the
But
two ones right now.
that was my pick. I didn't really have a second. I think that's right now the best rivalry in the NFL. I mean, I think Rams and 49ers is close. Somehow, some way that those are
They
always very
always play close.
they
Yeah.
always
They
play
play
close.
close though. Yeah.
But
I think Vegas and Kansas City is another one that has
yeah, that's a good
that
one.
we're gonna have to take a look at.
But I just think right now it's by far Kansas and Buffalo, only because they just meet in the playoffs and we see great football. For me,
Mhm.
a rivalry is really defined. If y'all meet in the playoffs, how does it go?
Mhm.
And it's always close games. It's cool to have rivalry in the regular season. That's fine and dandy. But especially if it's out of division. If it's an in division rivalry, we all could have said our teams are rivals. But if it's an out of division rivalry, it's cool. You play in the regular season, but what happens in the playoffs? And right now, these playoffs matchups with these two teams are amazing to watch, and I think they're the best rivalry in the NFL right now. For a while, I thought it was going to be the Rams and Kansas City. I wonder if it can get back to that. But right now, like I said, I'm going Rams. I'm going Kansas City and Buffalo.
No, I can see that. I tell y'all, man. I think Kansas City in trouble.
I'm not mad at you. I picked them last in the division.
I think Andy Reid gonna have to coach his tail off this year. Pat Mahomes gonna have a lot of pressure. Tyreek Hill, as delusional as we may think he is, he's put pressure on Pat Mahomes. So Pat better show up.
Yep.
He got a couple bad games.
Travis Kelce, all those guys gonna have to prove that he was that the wheels gonna keep on rolling.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope.
Let me ask y'all a question. So we're talking about rivals, right? This just popped into my head. Who is your favorite, or who is your team that in terms of rivals, who is the team that you want to beat the most every year for your team?
Definitely Cowboys.
Okay.
And I said it for a while. It was always Cowboys. Okay. Cowboys and Giants.
Okay, not for me. Yeah, the Giants for me.
The thing about the Cowboys, of all the teams in the division, I typically like the Cowboys the most. It's the fans. Y'all are insatiable. And so I just hate hearing y'all talk. So when I have that week of quiet, when we win, especially when it's on like a Thanksgiving or something, oh man, it's just a joyous occasion. But the Eagles fans, I went to school in Philly. That was trash too. They weren't real cool. But Cowboys definitely beating Dallas for sure.
And the Buccaneers too, but we don't beat them sadly anymore. They destroy us.
No, yeah, I just love I love beating the Giants just because I'm a New Yorker. So I just love seeing all those Giants fans being miserable. So.
And before we get out of here, they're the
thank you, Kyle. Thank you, sir.
They are the bottom of the barrel.
Top tier citizens is a stretch.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
some of us are.
I'm glad you clarified.
Yeah, a lot of us are delusional, but some of us are.
I bet not hear nobody talking about no Super Bowl from Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not this year.
You're tripping.
That's what I'm saying. Like
there have been years.
Ones are the ones that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The delusional ones are the ones that say every year that we're going to the Super Bowl. Every year we're going to win the Super Bowl. Those are the delusional ones. The real fans that actually know what they're talking about are the frustrated ones that look at the team and is tired of all of these coming up short and all these disappointments over these last 30 years coming up on. So that's the difference. It's either one or the other.
So we started earlier with the Zeke conversation. Mm-hmm. My question for you, Kenny, and Chris, you can chime in as well. As it stands, do you think the Dak Zeke era will be a success or a failure in hindsight?
I think it's probably going to wind up being a failure because especially if the only way it becomes a success is if we somehow make a Super Bowl run this year, because I think that this year is going to tell us one way or the other whether or not Zeke is going to be back next year. So I think it all depends on how this season goes. Like if somehow we make a deep playoff run and have some type of magical run, then that'll salvage it. But as it stands now, it's a failure.
Chris?
Failure. You don't make a playoff run. How is it a success? We're not going to go off regular season. We can't go off regular season numbers. Yes, they did amazing things in the regular season, but nobody cares about that, especially Cowboys fans. They want to see something in the playoffs, and not even. Correct me if I'm wrong. They haven't even been in the FC Championship game, had they?
Nope.
So you haven't even went that far. So right now it's a failure. It's going to continue to be a failure unless you make that deep playoff run. And, even if you lose to the Super Bowl, I would maybe say as a success you got there. But right now it's looking like a bad failure. Even though I don't blame them too for the failure. I just want to put that out there. But the tandem together has been a failure.
All right. So one last follow-up question. I'll keep saying that. Better duo or more successful duo. Let's use that. Dak and Zeke or Romo and Murray?
I need you to answer this.
Dak and Zeke, because it wasn't long enough for Murray. Murray was just really 1 year.
Okay.
And then he got then he basically held up the Eagles. Sorry about that, Chris. But,
no, I mean that's fine. But I was thinking the same way. I didn't see, even though Zeke has fallen off, I've seen a sample of Zeke. I haven't seen that same sample of DeMarco Murray, and we seen Tony Romo and Dak. You can make the comparisons. You can say they're about even, but I'm taking Zeke over DeMarco Murray. So that entitles.
You're taking Zeke's best season over that season Murray had.
Because Zeke had 3.
I'm taking Zeke.
More.
I'm taking Zeke over DeMarco Murray.
Okay.
Yes, DeMarco Murray had that season, but he came to my Eagles and he came and left. Like he just said, "Thank you for the bag. I'm going to Tennessee."
Hey, quiet as it's kept. There's been a couple people that got y'all. They talk about Washington throwing some money away. Y'all throwing money away too.
We threw money at Namdi because we didn't want to because we thought something was going to happen with Sante. Namdi was a bum. Everybody that knew football knew Namdi
Sante got y'all for some money too.
Yeah, but
Sante should be in the Hall of Fame. Every bag we threw at him, he deserves. Not Namdi.
I don't get enough criticism. The way we get criticized for Hainsworth, y'all should get
Jeffrey. Jeffrey stole some money.
Alshon was caught that pass in the Super Bowl. He got a Super Bowl touchdown.
Stole some money.
He didn't steal no money from me.
Man,
he ain't stole no money. Look, if you the best receiver on the Super Bowl team, how you stealing money?
Okay.
Carson Wentz stole some money. Carson Wentz stole money.
Nah, he earned that.
I'm not.
He earned that.
I'm not defending Carson anymore.
Okay. He earned it. But all right, we will have a weekend. There's no fights this weekend. I don't believe.
No, I think the Broner fights this weekend.
He fights this weekend?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought he was later in the month.
The fight
maybe it's the 20th.
The fight I wanted to see was canceled, so I'm kind of disappointed. I wanted to see that Paul and
I did, but they got talking crazy and
I wanted to see
games.
I wanted to see that so bad because
that's the 20th. My bad.
It was going to be either Jake Paul as the actual boxer, or if he lost, I wouldn't have been mad. Depending on how he lost, I wouldn't have been mad because he doesn't have that much experience.
I want to see this fight coming this weekend. Teofimo Lopez fights this weekend.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch
that. It's fighting at 140.
And do you Campa? He better win.
Yeah. And the Joshua fight is the 20th too. I'll be watching. I'm not watching Broner.
You ain't watch Adrian Broner in the overdue fight.
I'm watching Joshua.
I got a cookout that day, so if I get back in time, I'm gonna flip back and forth. How is it a fire stick?
Yeah, that's true.
Are Do we know which ones are on pay-per-view? I'm sure Josh was on pay-per-view. Oh, he's on the Zone. So
he's on the Zone.
All right.
And then and Bruno will be on Showtime.
All right. Yeah, I definitely got that. So I could probably record Bruno if need be. I'm rooting for him, man. Like, I hope he get it together. I was gonna say we can save the topic because he had some comments about Floyd and just that relationship that I felt the way about. So we can get into that at a later time.
Yeah.
But so we actually got solid weekend, and we will. Oh no, it's still early. It's Monday. What am I talking about? I'm thinking it's Thursday. I wish it was Thursday. We'll have some. Well, we'll see. We might have some Kevin Durant stuff, but we will be back. The point is, we'll be back Thursday at 9. Should be a blast. School will have started here. Went to open house today. That was a blast. So back to.
Oh, y'all start that early up there?
Yeah, man. We open house today. Met the teacher. She was pretty cool. But 2 days.
Started early in Delaware. We probably.
Yeah, I thought that was the South there. I didn't know they started that early north.
Yeah. Okay. When y'all start? Y'all already started?
This week?
Actually, no. My friend of mine, they moved to Florida. I think they're like Tampa. They had their open house today too, matter of fact. So yeah, I know y'all start soon.
Yeah, and we got some preseason on Thursday, so we
talk live. Is there what's the national game? Anybody know?
I'm not sure. It looks like it's Tennessee and Baltimore, and then New York at New England.
That's low key a rivalry.
Yeah, that's gonna be on NFL Network. So I'm thinking maybe the Tennessee-Baltimore game will be on national TV.
Tennessee and Baltimore low key a rivalry. They've been.
You got Friday games as well, so it might be not to Friday. So we'll see.
Okay, yeah, Giants, Patriots, and then okay, so yeah, they'll be on while we on. No late game. I'm surprised they didn't stagger it more, but I guess so be it. Can make it work. But yeah, we still ain't got a chance to talk about that live golf stuff. I do want to get into it because it's pretty interesting seeing these rich people argue. But y'all have a great one, and we will definitely be touching base. I don't know what person in right mind turns down $700 million. My God, but
when you already made that kind of money,
man, ain't no way you on the back end of your career, somebody offer you $700 million, and you say no, sir. And it ain't. And I love Tiger, but I don't love Tiger. I love Tiger. But it's not like he's like of high moral standing in a lot of regards. I don't
he's old school, and he's made a ton of money.
He's definitely made a money, but I've never heard a rich person say, "I don't want to make more money." Like that's why I
understand. I think the old school in him, or the traditionalist in him, couldn't turn his back on the PGA.
You gotta get out your own way, but
get out bags, boy.
That's Lord have mercy. And that's the other part. It's like Saudi owned, but they be doing tournaments here. So I don't understand it. But get that money, man. But y'all be easy. We will touch base with y'all on Thursday. Be safe, everybody, and tune in.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays.